Hello, welcome to White Birch Tarot. This reading is for, well, I'm going to say the weekend of the 26th and the 27th, although I think it's bigger than that. I think it's probably, I don't know. I'm just going to say it's longer than that. And I apologize in advance for my voice. We've had like 10 days of an astounding heat wave here in the Midwest. And I'm allergic to something. I think just staying in the house so long. Tomorrow the weather's supposed to break. I can't wait. So anyway, I would like to start out by talking about the astrology, and I don't even think I'm going to have time because honestly, it's astounding right now. I could go on and on for an hour about this, but I just want to say that right now we have 6 planets retrograde, which means backwards, and they don't literally go backwards in the sky, but they appear to. And we count that in astrology because astrology is in part a man-made system. You know, somebody came up with the houses and the signs and yes, the constellations are there in fact, but the meanings were created. So anyway, we have 6 retrograde planets, and then as of this coming Monday, I'm posting this late Friday night, early Saturday morning. As of Monday, we're going to have 7 planets because Uranus goes retrograde in Taurus this coming Monday. And then a week after that, on the 4th of September, Venus goes direct. So that puts it to 6 planets retrograde just for one day, because the next day on September 5th, Monday, Jupiter goes retrograde, also in Taurus, I believe. So we're going to have 6 planets retrograde, and then 7, and then 6 again. So that's a lot. And I took a look, and right now we have 7 planets in Earth signs, 1 in fire, and 2 in water, which means we have nothing in air except for the south node of the moon. So you're saying, well, so who cares? What does that mean? Well, it's kind of unusual because I always look for what's missing. So we have no air energy right now, again, except for the south nodes of the moon. And the south nodes of the moon generally represent, and pardon my voice, I'm just like so croaky tonight. I don't know what is wrong with me, but I think I need a change of weather. The south nodes of the moon represent our karma and where we're coming from and what we need to leave behind. And that's the only air that we have. Everything else, as I said, is mostly earth. 7 planets in earth, 1 in fire, 2 in water. Amazing. So much earth energy. And I think this is kind of reflected in the reading, which I will get to in just a moment. But I wanted to say that for the past couple of days, the sun has been opposite Saturn, and the sun is in Virgo. It just moved in. It's at 2 degrees. We have Mercury retrograde in Virgo. We have Mars in Virgo. Virgo represents health, so you could be having health issues. It also represents service to others and what we do with our time. Like literally, what do you do? How do you make use of the daily time that you're given every day? And with the sun, which is our self, our higher self, if you will, our entire self, being opposite Saturn, I get the feeling that you may be experiencing kind of a depression right now and feeling like, I feel like so many planets are retrograde. We're looking back, and you might be getting that feeling like, oh, I should have done this, or why didn't I do that, or I could have done this better. Because Saturn is a hard taskmaster. Saturn is about limitations and responsibilities and burdens. And it can also be the harvest and manifesting. It's not entirely negative. I'm not saying that. But with the sun opposite Saturn and Mercury's retrograde in Virgo, and normally, you know, people talk about, oh, Mercury's retrograde and my phone died and my this, doesn't work. And I don't usually experience that. But this time I am, and I think it's because so many planets are retrograde. I'm on a bunch of different Zoom groups, and there's been nothing but trouble, technological trouble. So if you're experiencing that, I'll be a miracle if this even works tonight. And again, with Venus retrograde in Leo, Here's my feeling about the current energy before I even look at the cards. I feel like we are thinking about, and again, there's not a lot of air energy, so actually it's not thinking, it's reviewing, but you're asking how you review without thinking. Well, you do think some, but you're feeling, I think, more about the past and past relationships and how you've shown up in them. And I think there's a review of balance going on between, because with the, remember the moon's nodes just changed like what, a month ago, and that they stay in the same signs. They're opposite each other, north and south. They stay in the same signs for about 1.5 years. So it's a pretty big deal. So the north node, which is where we're moving toward, is in Aries, which is a fire sign, and the south node, which is the energy we're moving out of, is in Libra, which is an air sign, which is our only air right now. We're moving out of our only air. So, and Libra rules relationships, balance, other people. You know, what do other people think of us? How do we get along with people? Harmony. And Aries, where the north node is, where we're moving toward, represents ourself. What do I need? Who am I? What do I desire? So I think this whole, all this focus on earth energy, and with Venus retrograde in Leo, I think it's asking us to look back over our relationships, and especially relationships, but also just the way we've acted and how we've used our time, and ask ourselves, what have I done with my life? Where have I been of service? What would I like to do differently in the future? Because you can't change the past, although you can change the way you look at it sometimes, so they say. Well, I believe that. And I was thinking, I didn't start out with a quote tonight, but the quote from Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist who was so brilliant, he said this. He said, free will, I know I've said this before, free will is the ability to do gladly that which I must do. So he's, in a sense, he's equating free will and fate. He's saying, look, they're the same thing. The only thing you get to choose is how you respond. Are you going to do it gladly, or are you going to go kicking and screaming? And I find that very interesting, because the older I get, the more I feel like everything is a paradox. And the more the more you struggle, the more you're going to get what you don't want. So I feel like this is a time of supreme surrender. And when I say surrender, I do not mean giving up. And I don't even mean giving in. I mean accepting whatever it is. And it's going to be something on an earth level, I believe, something in your life. Could be health challenges, could be other people's health challenges, could be you taking care of someone, could be relationships, something that's very tangible, that it's about, oh, just lost my train of thought. That's nice. Get in the middle of it here, get to the meat of it, and I lose my train of thought. This is about how do we respond to those things that we cannot change? Because how you deal with them is everything. So the emphasis in that quote by Jung, free will is the ability to do gladly that which I must do, the emphasis is on the word gladly. That's what you can change, is how you do things and how you feel about your service. Are you going to do it willingly, or are you going to go kicking and screaming? And believe me, if you change your attitude, it really does change everything. So let's see if the cards reflect that. Anyway, so I won't go on anymore about the astrology, but I could go on all night. It's fascinating what's happening. And we just had, I want to say something about Mars, which represents the inner warrior, the I that I was just talking about. And the north nodes are in Aries, as I said, which is like, who am I? What do I want? Mars just came off an opposition to Neptune. Neptune is stronger than Mars. So the warrior just got swallowed up by the ocean, okay, because he was opposite Neptune. And now Neptune is square Pluto. Pluto is the unconscious. Again, Neptune can't stand a chance against, Mars can't stand a chance against Pluto. Pluto is much larger. The underworld, the subconscious is much larger than probably your personal identity or your ego, which, you know, Mars is kind of associated with. So the inner warrior has been through a lot right now. And it's interesting to me that Mars, the inner warrior, who just faced all of these challenges opposite and square these two large outer planets, rules Aries, where the North Node is, which is what we're moving toward. We're trying to figure out who we are, and we just go through all of this, you know, feeling of, oh my gosh, I have no power. You may have felt powerless in the last, you know, few days, week, whatever. And because the North Node is in Aries, which is ruled by Mars, and the South Node, which is the karma that we're coming out of, is ruled by Venus, who is stuck retrograde in Leo. Venus loves to be in Leo, where she can be dramatic and shine her light, but she's retrograde, so she's kind of being like forced to take a second look and dim her light just a bit and say, wait a minute, how do I want to show up? So anyway, Venus has been in Leo for 4 months, which for her is very unusual. She usually goes through a sign in a little bit less than a month. She's been in Leo for 4 months. And now Jupiter's in Taurus and is going to be there for like 9 months. That's not that unusual, but I should have brought a fan up here. It's roasting. Anyway, so let me take a quick look at the cards. Oh, before I start though, I promised Embracing Aging that I would, she commented on my last reading was with the Ethereal deck. And this is my favorite. I'm going to hold it closer. My favorite card in this deck is the Three of Wands, or I'm sorry, the Three of Pentacles. Is that gorgeous or not? I think so. I will use this deck next time, but I just got this new deck in the mail. I promised myself I wouldn't order anymore. And then I saw these. They're based on Welsh mythology, the Mabinogion. If anybody has read that, fascinating. I read it when I was in my 20s. I'm going to have to redo it because I recognize these names, but I don't remember who they are. And I will try to move through this quickly because I realize this is long. And I'm going to try to hold this a little more closer because, more closer, that's not even grammatically correct. Ex-English teacher, closer. The Ten of Wands. We start out with the Ten of Wands, okay? We are carrying a load that is unsustainable. We feel this is the Sun opposite Saturn. It's too heavy, okay? We're going to have to put down the burden. We can't carry everything. So, the next card is the Five of Pentacles. This is the people outside the churches. Is very much based on the Rider-Waite deck, and I didn't bring any water up with me. Where the people have a church that they could go into and get warm and probably find some food and, you know, wine, depending on if it's a Catholic church. I don't know. But they don't. So you may be feeling like, again, we've had this several times lately. It's a feeling of being alone and doing everything by yourself. And again, you might be having kind of a pity party, like, why is everything so difficult right now? Why am I doing everything by myself? But we get the Star, and I believe we got this last time or the time before, and this was, and I, forgive me if you're Welsh for mangling everything, Bronwyn? I remember her, but I can't remember who she was. She's the Star. So this is telling us all is not lost. You may be feeling very put upon and burdened right now, but you actually have divine, I'm not going to say guidance, I'm going to say help, sustenance. I love how they have the standing stones in the background. I love standing stones. And we've, eagle? No. Owl. It's nighttime. Owl. Wisdom. So here comes some help for us in our time of need, which tells me that whatever you're going through right now, you're meant to go through. So don't despair. Honestly, things are going to turn around, but they're going to be rough for a little while, looks like. Because then we get the Tower, and this is a sudden change. And in this tower, look at the deluge. Actually, I think in the other tower, there is Neptune in the front, or Poseidon, same guy. And what did I just say? Mars was just opposite Neptune very recently. So this is our ego feeling deluged by something that's so much larger than we are. So the lightning kind of represents Uranus, like a sudden a sudden change, but your whole world gets turned upside down. And again, don't worry, it doesn't mean you're going to die or have a car wreck or anything like that. It could be a sudden change in your mind. But I kind of feel like since we don't have a lot of air energy, it could be a change in your will more than your thinking, if that makes any sense. Almost at a heart level, like, you know, what I thought was true isn't true, or the way I thought I felt, I don't feel anymore, because we've had so much about letting go. So here comes our change, and it's sudden. It's sudden, but I don't see anything like disastrous, so don't worry, I don't mean anything like that. And then we get the Five of Wands. Here comes some arguing and some strife. And again, this could be in your own mind, but since we don't have a lot of air, but you can argue with your will. This could be the, like, do I or don't I card. It can also be literally arguing with others and feeling like your way is being blocked by other people. This can be very contentious energy where people are irritating you and getting in your way. But then again, you can get in your own way too. And then we get the King of Wands, okay? This is a great card because he is in control of the fiery realm, which is your actions, your desires. But oftentimes to get to this point, in order to gain this kind of control, he's had to fight to get here, okay? He didn't just walk up and sit down on the throne. He had to go through the hero's journey to get here. But at least, you know, we've got this to look forward to, that you will figure out what you do want. And again, you've got that divine star energy to help you. And then here's some air energy, finally. I'm glad to see this, actually, because I miss air energy. The Ace of Swords. And again, if you notice, this is kind of, is that laurel or holly? I don't know. Is that rowan? I don't know. I wish I knew. But anyway, this is a decisive thought, but it doesn't come without some struggle. You know, when you finally achieve mental clarity, it's usually because you've struggled for a while. And again, I don't see a lot of mental struggle. It feels more almost like a physical struggle, like just day-to-day mundane details and problems and responsibilities piling up until you don't even know what to think anymore. And then you have an idea. You gain some mental clarity. And again, with the King of Wands, you know, right before that, you also gain some physical energy and some desire. And we end on a really good note, I think. The King of Pentacles. There. I have to hold this so close to focus on this new iPad. The King of Pentacles. Okay, here comes some stability. After the Tower, this was the card right below the Tower. So the Tower shakes everything up. So I don't think the shakeup is going to last that long. I think the shakeup is the culmination of something that has been brewing for a while. So I don't think it's going to be necessarily a surprise. It generally is, but I don't think it's going to be this time. I think you've been full aware that things cannot go on the way that they have been going on, and you finally just have a sudden, like, okay, like putting down the wands that I started with, like, okay, I can't do this anymore this way. I have to change the way I'm doing things on a material level. And here he comes. Here comes some stability, and here comes a change in daily routine. You know, Virgo's all about the details, and Virgo can be as mundane as cleaning out your filing cabinet and cleaning out your kitchen drawers and scrubbing the bathtub. It can be literally that mundane, and it can also be as high as caring for a loved one who is ill. It's service. It's what we do with our time, like I said, on a daily, hourly basis, but it's also about service in the greater sense of what do I want to dedicate my life and my time to. And I think we're going to be figuring that out as the nodes are in Aries and Libra. I think you're going to be asking yourself, how can I serve myself while still not giving up my responsibilities to the collective, to the other people in my life. Ooh, I got the oracle cards in my hand. This fell out, okay? I don't get this, but maybe this is what the star is bringing us. Happy, happy. Maybe this is telling us, you know, there's like a child's face. Venus in Leo. Leo rules children and play and creativity. So I would say, someone told me the other day, I was on a Zoom group about envisioning, and she said, you know, if you just force yourself to smile several times a day for no reason, smiling literally changes your hormones, your neurotransmitters, your inner chemicals. And I think I've read that before. So even if you don't feel like smiling, smile, because it's good for you. It's good for you. And remember that quote I started with. Actually, I didn't start with it, but the ability to do gladly. It's about doing these things instead of, you know, complaining and moaning and saying, oh God, I have to do this again. It's about saying, thank you, higher power, that I'm being given a chance to redo what I did before. Part of me may feel sick of it, but now I get a chance to do it again and see if I can do it better, and look at it as a challenge rather than as, now this doesn't fit. We get why. Okay, I feel like throwing this out like I threw out the to be fair the other time, because why is about philosophy. Okay, Jupiter is going retrograde. When did I say? Monday, September 5th, Jupiter goes retrograde. Okay, you know what? With all this retrograde energy, you may be asking yourself, why do I have to go through this again? You may be feeling like it's like over and over and over the same thing because of so much retrograde energy. So now that I think about it, that kind of does make sense. I'm going to switch up. And again, I'm so sorry for my voice tonight. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm going to draw just a couple of fairies because, hey, why not? And they're, you know what? Oh, interesting. They're coming out. These two came out together. We got two feminines. We get the returning. And again, I said Venus is going retrograde in Leo, which gives us a chance to look back at our past relationships. They could be romantic. They could be any kind of relationships. And ask yourself, what could I have done differently? Not to beat yourself over the head, not for that, but simply for next time, so you know better what you really want to do next time. It's about learning lessons and being kind to yourself at the same time. She's got wings coming out of her back. So this returning, she walks through the door, and everything's different. Why? Because she's different. She's looking at it from a different perspective. And then we get the Lady of the Forest. She's got wings coming out of her back too. Maybe all the fairies do. I love her. I love horns. That sounds funny, but I love a good horn. I love horns. Pan is my favorite mythological creature. He has been since I was a child. So here's the Lady of the Forest. This is feminine earth energy. And like I said, we've got 7 planets in Earth right now. Maybe this is Virgo energy, I don't know. But this is about being rooted and being grateful for the things that you do every day, even if they seem repetitive and mundane. Remember, you're not going to be here forever, so celebrate every day. What was that? James Dillett Freeman, who is the poet laureate of the Unity Church, which, well, I don't want to say bad things about, never mind. It's a church I like. He said, now let me think, how did he put it? Live every moment as if you have forever, and live every day as if it were your last. And that's kind of what I feel like this is telling us. It's like celebrate what you do every day, even if you're bored. Like I've been trapped in the house for 10 days now with this extreme heat. And I just need to be grateful for the things I have. I have air conditioning and an iPad so I can post, and I have people who leave me fun comments and interesting, intelligent people. And so anyway, So I hope I haven't bored you stiff, but this is the energy right now. It's very, very spiritual, even though it may feel very, very physical, because what is most physical is also what is most spiritual. That just came out of me, so take it. Okay, please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons, and I will talk to you in a few days, and blessings. Thank you. Good night.